Hello again and welcome back. This is part four of my review, historical reverie of my InnoCentive Challenge Solutions from 2014 to 2023. Before I get started though, I'd like to go back and maybe answer a few questions people have posed to me about what's the deal here? What started you on this journey of writing these InnoCentive challenges? And I would refer you back to the first video that I posted on my YouTube channel about the Mars Balance Mass Challenge. If you haven't seen that yet, and you're just coming to this in the middle of part four, then this will give you some kind of context to go back and take a look at that. But I do want to take this time to read some passages out of the book that my story was featured in. After several years of my doing this, in chapter 9 of that book called One Smart Crowd, they asked me to kind of tell my background story. So if you will allow me to just sort of recite some passages out of that, it'll give you kind of a context if you're not aware of, what's all this about. So here's some passages that I want to read real quickly, and then we'll go on to review each one of these little note cards that I've put together for part four of this review. On page 259 of that book, I say, "You might say that I was recruited to the platform," meaning the InnoCentive platform, "by roving curiosity. The first problem that I ever tackled was the Mars Balance Mass Challenge. The idea for a solution struck me immediately with some help from watching the clouds at sunset. I sat at my computer keyboard on a workbench and makeshift desk in the laundry room of my brother's farmhouse near Rising Star, Texas, where I lived for several years. It was a good place to think and to write. In about a week, I had it written up with cited references and drafted graphics to illustrate my idea. Solitude helped fuel and feed my one-man army on a solitary march, a party of one, and a Lone Star R&D think tank. Over the next year, I would write 68 of my ideas there at that simple desk made of painted plywood and lumber. But what's my perspective of this? On page 262, I say, each challenge is a separate pastime activity for me, but this is not a consistent hobby as I define it. They're like word puzzles, but each is different and unique, and there may be more than one right set of answers or words that fit the puzzle to win awards. That's why there are often multiple individual winners with different solutions for any given challenge, InnoCentive challenge, right? So these marketplace activities are distinct. And when I say marketplace, I mean the marketplace of ideas, I guess you could say. They're distinct from games of chance in that they involve more than just random chance or probability. There's no betting here, so this isn't gambling either. So, but there may be some guesswork, and that's what you'll see in some of these, is that in some places I'm really kind of guessing, although I do try to bring in as many citations and references as I can to sort of stand on the shoulders of others who have paved the way along the lines of the whatever subject this might be. And so this one, part four, you'll see quite a variety and diversity of ideas. And I hope you find that interesting. If you find any of these interesting, or if you have any questions or comments, you can get a hold of me through the YouTube channel, I think, and or my Facebook channel, or page, or whatever you call it. And there's the X platform. So I'm present on all three of those things now, in my advanced stage of riding into the sunset. Okay, let's go into this first one. This one is the first project I want to talk about, or proposal that I want to talk about here in part 4. More water, less concentrate. I wrote this in March 13th of 2017. It looks like it's been a while. But the proposal title was Enhancement of Freshwater Recovery and Subsequent Reverse Osmosis Concentrate Volume Reduction. That is, what is a concentrate? That's a brine, right? For a 1 million gallon a day desalination plant by combining improved evaporation and condensation technologies and renewable energy. So I'm big on that, and I've been involved in a number of projects and proposals that want to promote, solar thermal desalination, or a desalination that is fueled by my more recent ideas of a fusion reactor, which we can talk about later. Anyway, you can pause this and you can see what the whole idea is here is to try to retrieve more of the water out of the brine than is currently or was traditionally being pursued. And one of them involved, one of the ideas involved a means of electrostatic cooling of condensation surfaces, which uses very little energy. And I provide citations to that that kind of springboards off of the work of others, even back to the 60s and 70s. But, it's just, there's nothing new under the sun. And this is just taking old ideas and maybe giving them a new, fresh new coat of paint. Okay? You can pause this and read more about it. And if you have any questions, you can contact me. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this next one I wrote in March 26, 2017. It refers to predictive biomarkers for psoriasis treatment. And the title that I came up with is to simply monitor blood serum cytokines as biomarkers in a panel over time to assist the diagnosis, the prediction, and the therapy of psoriasis. I spent a great deal of my time in analytical instrument labs, so I appreciate the value and the utility of being able to analyze compounds and constituents in biological samples, and try to take that data and learn about what are the trends over time. So there's a list of cytokines here that I suggest that clinical studies might be focused on, and at that time and into the future. So I don't know, if there's been much progress since then. I suppose there has, but these are the ones that I suggested, and this is how I wrote it up almost 10 years ago. So this is just part of the story of my interest in trying to, suggest ways to analyze things and and organize the data and analyze trends over time. I have a particular interest in, skin problems like eczema and psoriasis and acne, um, and I've written some of my proposals related to that for my own reasons. So you can pause this and read it all, and if you have any questions, just contact me. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, here we have another proposal that I wrote on April the 10th, 2017. This once again deals with what I think the Europeans call carton board, which we in the USA might call cardboard. And once again, I invoke chitin and chitosan. But the seeker was looking for how to eliminate delamination of cardboard during printing processes. So this is a structural breakdown that can happen with cardboard when it's being printed on the exterior. So once again, I come up with the idea that chitin and chitosan can improve the strength and flexibility of cellulose-based carton fiberboard or cardboard as an additive, or it could even replace, cellulose-based fiber, in my opinion, to help eliminate delamination during the printing process. That would result in products that are humidity resistant, biodegradable, low cost, and mass producible, and they can be made from recycled waste organic matter via electrospun chitin and chitosan based fibers and laminated films. If you've listened to some of the earlier proposals that I've come up with, this is basically, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but chitin and chitosan can significantly strengthen recycled paper and fiberboard and cardboard used for cartons and boxes. It can thus increase the environmental friendliness of packaging and other products. Chitosan is already being used to some degree in the manufacture of paper, in part because that polysaccharide polymer, those molecules are very similar to those of the natural polysaccharide polymer cellulose, traditionally used to make paper and fiberboard. So this is kind of a repeat or a variation on a theme, and you can pause this now and study the rest of it as you like. If you got any questions, give me a call. Next slide. Okay, this one's written in May 10th of 2017. This is part 4 of this review. The seeker is looking for the next generation of materials to replace glass crystals. And this is a bit of a repeat of what I've already written about. It may have been the same seeker, I'm not sure. But the proposal is titled Pulsed Current Electric Sintering, that's PCES, in the production of glass ceramic made of nano powder silica with niobium additives and other options. To make optical materials with high refractive index, which is what diamond has. So if you have crystals and they have high reflectivity and refractive index, they have what's called fire or sparkle. And this is talking about this once again. If you listen to earlier narratives about this, this is basically a repeat of that. Niobium pentoxide is the additive, and the means of centering this, which is a means of taking small, very, very small particles and melting those small particles um, into a solid mass. It's also known as spark plasma sintering, to make what are called glass ceramic class of materials. They're composite materials, um, and it's very interesting to me. So if you want to just pause that and take a look at the proposal, uh, as these index cards, we go through this deck. Please do, and if you have any questions or comments, just give me contact me at YouTube or Facebook or the X platform. Next slide. Okay, I'm glad to present this one. Have a few words to say about it because I guess you could say it's one of my faves. Um, the Seeker, I won't name the Seeker here, but it's a European company, and I really like these people. I got to talk on the phone with them, which is really unusual for a solver to be able to, in the aftermath of, submitting a solution, to get on the phone with folks, and they're good people. But let's go into this a little bit. The Seeker's looking for new methods for cooling water disinfection. So you have these, evaporative cooling towers and in power stations, and they're looking for a better way to disinfect and prevent biofouling in cooling water systems. So my proposal involves disinfection and prevention of biofouling from biofilms in cooling water systems with a combination of ultrasonic, mechanical filtration, and ultraviolet light technologies. And my index card or abstract here explains it all, or most of it. And this is one of my one that I really like and appreciated doing, because a big part of my career has been about recirculation systems, water systems, mechanical and biological treatment of water, and I'm a big fan of water quality and water quantity. Let's just put it that way. So if you want to pause this and have a look, then do it. If you have any questions, just contact me. Thank you. This one is written in February 11th of 2019. The Seeker is looking to recycle and reuse wind turbine blades, and this is really the first one that I addressed this problem with. Later on, another proposal was posed or presented, and I came up with what I think is a better solution after it was posed again. So this one's really simple. You could just simply put some sand or concrete in the very large structure of these fiberglass composite wind turbine blades and use them in marine structure applications. So you can take a look at this and see what you think. If you have any comments, please contact me, let me know. But this is not necessarily the preferred way that I would do it, but it might be of interest to some companies in some countries to do this. I do appreciate helping create, coral reefs and that sort of thing, structures to enhance marine habitats and environments. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this one was written or submitted around May the 2nd of 2019. It involves improving fish exclusion from water diversions and intakes in surface waters. So my title here is Fish Exclusion from Water Diversions and Intake using broadband sonic and ultrasonic frequencies, so acoustic deterrence, and what I call looming light LED arrays to activate innate avoidance and escape behavior in fish. So this is a very much a behavioral barrier type of approach to fish exclusion. It involves both low frequency sound and some ultrasonic frequencies. And now, this is interesting to me because as someone who's been interested in biology for so long, things like shad in freshwater reservoirs, they are more sensitive to ultrasonic frequencies than some other species, which is very interesting to me. So well, I did include that, and you can pause this and have a look, and if you have any questions, please contact me. Well, I guess this is going to be a little bit longer than average on the presentation. Part 4 is going to be a little longer than average, but that's okay. This one is another one of my favorites, I think. It's in the top 10, and that is mitigating the environmental impact of large photovoltaic plants or farms, renewable energy farms. And the title here that I have is Photovoltaic PV Panels Forming Vertical Stators that enhance both solar and wind energy production. It will reduce land use of renewable energy plants. It will mitigate environmental impacts relative to the status quo. And it allows for integrated agricultural uses. And I hope that you can see that with the next slide that I'm going to show is basically just graphics to give you an idea of how this would work. One of the advantages of this proposal is to improve land use efficiency. According to our calculations, the improvement of land use efficiency would be 261% just for the photovoltaic panel deployment alone. This proposal projects around 0.75 to 0.88 megawatts per hectare, and possibly more due to the hours of daily sunlight captured, with no use of tracking mechanisms. So that's another advantage. This represents improvements of 172% for PV generation capacity per hectare and 159% for annual production per hectare for photovoltaic alone in capturing renewable energy. Now, compared to average land use percentages reported for conventional large horizontal axis wind farms, in which 79% of the land use is for roads and only 10% land use for turbines, because they space the horizontal axis wind turbines so far apart. So the proposed configuration of vertical axis photovoltaic modular structures that I've described in this proposal offers a significant improvement in land use efficiency, and at the same time approximately 63% of the photovoltaic farm or plant area in this proposal can be used for agriculture. Now let's see if I can move us over to the graphics here. If you can see this in the graphics that support this, the spacing of these towers in which the vertical axis wind turbines are at the center of these the vertical axis wind towers are at the focus, if you will, of these vertically oriented photovoltaic panels. And the photovoltaic panels act as wind scoops or air scoops. Anybody who knows about carburetors with air scoops and that sort of thing would appreciate that there's much more amplification of existing wind power by the presence of these static wind panels, of photovoltaic panels. And at the same time, you can have both wind power and photovoltaics. All right, so we're getting on here. So take a look at this, and if you have any questions, give me a contact. All right, bye. Okay, this one is a bit different for me too. It's May the 21st of 2019. And what the seeker's looking for is a way to identify birds that were involved in an airstrike incident from a minimal sample. So I proposed a way of the aircraft personnel or the airport personnel to use a kind of a cell phone program to look at the feathers of the birds that were involved in the strike and try to identify which species it was. And I was in researching this, I was surprised to learn how many incidences there are. In 2017, there were 14,496 wildlife strikes on civil aircraft reported in the United States of America. And it's the airport operations people that have to file these reports. And having such a software program incorporated into a kind of a smartphone or a cell phone to take pictures of the feathers and that sort of thing would be useful, because we need to learn what species of birds are endangered by this and how we might be able to mitigate this with habitat mitigation or other preventative measures. Next slide. All right, this one was written May the 29th of 2019, and the seeker's looking for reducing discoloration of polyamides, a polymer, plastic that is exposed to air and high temperatures. My title here is Novel Synergistic Antioxidant Additive Combinations for Oxidation Stability to Prevent or Reduce Discoloration of Polyamide Materials exposed to air and high temperatures, which can oxidize and discolor these polymers. And so in this one, I call for a couple of basic additives to help reduce that. And sulfones, not cell phones, but sulfones, SULFONES, could really help to reduce that oxidation process. You can take a look. And thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please contact me at Facebook or my other contacts. Bye.